All right, so chapter 13 is mixing and comparing methods. Uh, so this chapter will explain in more detail the logic of mixed methods, as well as different ways of combining methods. So when we review the strengths and limitations of the methods, um, this review can also help you choose the most appropriate research design for a particular investigation and decide when a combination of methods, or mixed methods as we like to say, is most useful. And then they'll introduce the chapter will introduce the methods of meta-analysis, meta-synthesis, which allows for systematic evaluation of findings from numerous published studies that have all used similar quantitative and qualitative methods. Uh, so, social scientists have long used multiple methods in their research, but it's only in recent decades that some have focused attention on how best to combine qualitative and quantitative methods to better achieve research goals. Social scientists have long used these multiple methods that helps us to specifically indicate that research has combined qualitative and quantitative methods in an investigation or of the same related research question. The use of mixed methods should be an intentional design decision. And then triangulation is when we use multiple methods to study one research question, also used to mean the use of two or more different measures of the same variable. So to reiterate, should methods be mixed, we want to reiterate the general argument. A researcher who accepts a positivist philosophy believes that there is a reality that exists apart from our perceptions or interpretations of it. Uh, okay, so there's types of different mixed method designs. There's the convergent parallel design. This is the quantitative and qualitative methods that are implemented at the same time. The findings are integrated and interpreted together. Then we have the exploratory sequential design. This is a qualitative method that's implemented first, and then the quantitative method would follow suit after that. The explanatory sequential design is the quantitative method is implemented first, and then it's followed by the qualitative method. So it's just the opposite of our exploratory one. Then we have the embedded design, and this is the primary method, which may be qualitative or quantitative, but then the researcher adds the other component to gain additional insight. For example, a quantitative design might be supplemented by a case study. These designs may be implemented either concurrently or sequentially. And then there's a transformative design. So Creswell and Plano-Clark suggest that the unique features of a transformative design is that it uses a theoretical perspective with a social justice focus, such as feminist research or participatory action research. Such research is done to improve the well-being of vulnerable populations. And then we have the multi-phase design. This design involves a series of quantitative and qualitative designs. Each design and the findings inform the next phase. The sequence of the qualitative and quantitative methods can differ in studies. One method may be given priority over the other. So I said that one method may be given priority over another. Um, we also need to keep in mind that researchers are sidestepping these different conflicting philosophies and ideas, methods altogether in favor of using what seems to work best for answering a given research question. We also have something in here that's called pragmatism. And so this was something developed by John Dewey and others that emphasized the importance of taking action and learning from the outcomes to generate knowledge. The bottom line is that no one method can be graded superior to the others, but each varies in its sustainability for different research questions and goals. But answering the question, should methods be mixed, that's a decision you have to make for yourself. Does being pragmatic make sense to you? So strengths and limitations, um, this should be your golden rule. The choice of a data collection method should be guided in large part by the aspect of validity that is of most concern and by the best method for answering your research question. When we combine methods, this can strengthen the project's design by enhancing measurement, validity, generalizability, causal validity, or authenticity. When we combine methods, it also creates challenges that may be difficult to overcome, and this can limit the extent to which these goals are enhanced. The quantitative analysis of findings from multiple studies is your meta-analysis, a quantitative method for identifying patterns and findings across multiple studies of the same research question. This meta-analysis treats previous studies as cases whose features are measured as variables and then are analyzed statistically. This can be used when a number of studies have attempted to answer the same question with similar quantitative methods. One of the challenges of meta-analysis is that the authors of the articles may not always report sufficient information. So eligibility criteria must be specified carefully to determine which studies to include and which to omit as being too different. Lipsey and Wilson suggest that eligibility criteria include the following. Distinguishing features, which includes specific intervention tested and perhaps the groups compared. Research respondents. These specify the population to which generalization is sought. There's key variables. These must be sufficient to allow tests of the hypothesis of concern and control for likely additional influences. Research methods, which apples and oranges cannot be directly compared, right? So has to be some trade-off that must be made, including the range of studies about a research question, excluding those that are different in their methods as to not yield comparable data. And then we have cultural and linguistic range. If the study population is going to be limited to English language publications or limited in some other way, this must be acknowledged, and the size of the population of relevant studies in other languages should be estimated. And then there's time frame, which is a social pressure that's relevant to the research question. This may have changed as a result of historical events or new technologies, so temporal boundaries around the study population must be considered. And then we have publication type. Will the analysis focus on only published reports in professional journals, or will it include dissertations or unpublished reports? So this all leads up to our meta-analysis steps, right? So first we have to formulate the problem. The literature is searched systematically to identify relevant studies. And then once we find these, we can identify their findings, methods, and other features that are coded. And then we look at their effect size. So the effect size is a standard measure of association. Often the difference between the mean of the experimental group and the mean of the control group on the dependent variable, which is adjusted for the average variability in the two groups. So the meta-synthesis is the qualitative analysis of findings from multiple qualitative studies. This type of analysis requires not just aggregating findings from different qualitative studies, but also reinterpreting the data once it's aggregated. As with meta-analysis, attention to eligibility criteria for selection into a meta-synthesis is extremely important. Researchers who combine methods must be aware of the ethical concerns involved in using each of the separate methods, but there's also some ethical challenges that are heightened in this mixed methods approach. One special challenge is defining the researcher's role in the relation to the research participants. Every researcher creates an understanding about his or her role with the research participants.